And yes, your eyes did not deceive you. That was me supersetting squat and incline bench. Today is what I'm calling day one of the experiment. With my most recent squat session of my last training day, that was in fact the final training day, putting a unfortunate nail in the coffin for King of the Platform 5. That prep has ceased and desist, and unfortunately I will not be moving forward and competing in that competition. Less than 6 weeks out and not being able to squat at even at a 50% level, that tells me that even if I somehow miraculously feel better and can start squatting higher, the loads that I need to push and the intensity that needs to come about in the next several weeks after that, I could go from being hurt to being severely injured. That doesn't just push me back a couple of weeks or a couple of months. That could set my ultimate goals back years. So, not being the hard-headed ogre that I normally am, I'm going to pull back, unfortunately pull out of that meet, but as I always find, there's always opportunity. Now I get to move forward with something that I've been thinking about for a very long time that I haven't had the opportunity to experiment because I've always had some form of competition on my mind. So the training has always been optimized and pushed towards constant improvement, constant intensity, and always with competition date in mind. But now with pulling out the obligations or strict rules that I set during the competition style of training, I get to actually, this may be not the best term, but I actually get to enjoy experimenting with something that is completely different from anything I've ever done before. So as you've seen in the entrance of the video, you see me go directly from a squat to a incline bench. That is something that I've been working on and thinking about and writing down and sketching and programming out for quite a while that I wanted to put into motion. And I currently have no idea if this is even going to work. It's just something that I've been wanting to try, and today is experiment day one, or really day zero, as this is just a penciled in, let's see what happened session. So, again, this is something that I've never done before, but now with some other life changes that I've got going on in the background, my training time is going to be minimalized, meaning I need to train in the most efficient manner. So I need to get the maximum amount of work done to continue my progress with less time. So how do I do that? Instead of my traditional program, which was 4 days a week, upper lower, off, upper lower. And that would create, I had 1 day off in between the upper lower, followed by 2 days off, and that was the week, 4 days on, 3 days off. Now I will be training in a every other day. So day on, day off, day on, day off, day on, day off. But every single one of those days, as far as what I have in mind right now, that may change because this is an experiment, is every single day is full body. But there will be an A-B style of rotation, maybe an ABC or an ABCD. So workout A is full body, but maybe it's focused on secondary pressing, like an incline and squat, so quad dominant. And maybe the B would be a pressing movement, but a flat competition style pressing movement followed by a deadlift, so a hamstring day. So maybe, again, experiment, I don't know yet, maybe A is secondary press and quad with squat, and B would be a primary press flat with a hamstring deadlift. So far, that's what I have in mind, and the accessories will follow that. So On the B day, maybe I do hamstring curls or stiff-legged deadlifts to follow up. And maybe on my A day, which is the squat, maybe I do leg press, leg extensions, and maybe some chest flies or something to follow. So I'm just kind of making this up as I go along. We're gonna see how the day progresses. But that was my last warm-up. So this right here will be the working sets. Right now, there are maximum will be 2 working sets. On some movements, it will probably be 1 working set because now we are increasing the training time with only a day on, day off. So we're increasing the frequency, even though we're staying minimal load. So on the upper, lower, that's 2 upper days and 2 lower days. And the lower days might only be squat and deadlift. So you're only squatting once a week and deadlifting once a week. Well, here, I'll be squatting and deadlifting potentially 3 times a week, 1 week, and 4 times a week the following week, because it's a day on, day off, 3 days and 4 days. That means that I will technically be doing more work in a given week than I already am, so I'll need to reduce volume on the training days, and I will be doing same for the upper. That means for instead of only 2 upper days in a week, we'll be doing 3 upper days 1 week and 4 upper days the following week. So I don't need to do a bench movement and then a fly movement and then a tricep movement, etc., etc. I can now reduce that because I'm increasing the frequency over a given week. Now you can see how doing this, I'm increasing frequency, increasing the movement touches that I get in a given week, while actually training less in a more efficient manner, supersetting an upper with a lower. This is all makes sense in my head, and if it doesn't make sense to you as I'm rambling about, don't worry. If you follow along with the videos and see how this progresses, it will ideally, hopefully turn into an extremely efficient manner for people that have a lot going on in their life and not a super amount of time to train and push hard, that still want to compete or just want to be better than they ever were before. This, I think, will turn out to be something really cool and fun in this experiment. And while I'm on the topic of experimenting, I am, for the first time in probably well over 2 years, I'm moving back to low bar. I've been squatting primarily low bar in a wide stance, very straight, upright position for the last couple of years, and that's done me very well. So just as I'm removing sumo from my training, I'm now going to be focusing full time for the first time since I've started lifting years and years ago. I'm going to be removing sumo, most likely forever. Everybody can clap their hands, and focusing completely on conventional. I'm also going to be, let's see how this experiment goes, but converting from high bar, wide stance, toes out, to a low bar, closer stance, toes forward, to try to get more quad, more hamstring, more glute, and less adductor inner thigh. I was generally an extremely hip and adductor style squatter. You can think normally how a equipped or wrapped lifter would lift. That's just how my body seemed to like. But now I'm going to be completely switching all of that up and see what happens. This is all experimentation. This is what I enjoy so much about the off-season training. I really get to figure things out. And I picked a good working weight to set here, trying to keep the pain level. Again, I'm still recovering this injury, so the idea is not to push the weight too hard. I'm trying to keep a pain level of 3 to 4. Above that, then I reduce weight. That was about a pain level of 3 to 4, manageable. Now, I believe I'm going a little bit overzealous, getting wild here with my chosen weight for incline, but you know, let's find out. I just kind of wanted to touch something heavy today, so This is it. Ah! I'll take it. 5. And while I may have well overshot that bench, on everything else, I'm going to be starting pretty low, pretty light, specifically lower body movements. I'm going to be more or less undershooting. I know that with the increased frequency that I'm going to have to adjust to not having 3 to 4 days in between squatting, deadlifting, hamstring curls, leg extension, RDLs, etc. So while I'm reducing volume, the idea is to increase the intensity to an exponential level where I'll still be able to recover in the shorter time frame. I am squatting today as well as doing a stiff-legged deadlift, and tomorrow is off, but then the following day after, I will then again be doing lower body movements. So now I only have 1 day off in between the lower body movements and upper body. I need to be very careful of doing too much volume right away at a heavy load where I'm not going to be able to recover from that. So as I was mentioning, on an A and B day, you'll notice that I squatted first. So now for my secondary movement that's deadlift-like, I'm not going to do a traditional deadlift. We're going to do a secondary movement in the stiff leg. Because now that I'm converting from sumo to conventional, I need to put a real focus on lower back strength. As in sumo, I was able to get a really good upright position where I didn't use a lot of lower back. And converting over, I will be, so that's why for stiff leg, I prefer to keep the bar 4 or so inches away from my shins, moving the moment arm out further, increasing that leverage, putting the load on my lower back, my lower erectors, so I can build an undeniable, unbreakable, strong lower back. And yes, we are supersetting everything. So we go from a lower to an upper, squat to bench, stiff leg deads to a fly, a push for chest, a adduction for chest, a mostly quad, some glute for squat, into adductor magnus and lower erector for the lower body. Full body, superset, everything. What an experiment. Now for my favorite all-time back movement, lat builder, pull downs. I don't do these during prep because I think chest supported is more conducive to being strong in competition sense. But if you want to talk about just getting wider, thicker, denser lats, this here is it. And I'll say this, just from a can't even talk, just from a pure workout stance, whew, I'm wiped out. Supersetting everything like this it's gonna take some getting used to. It's gonna, for sure, gonna increase my fitness level, my readiness rate. So I'm looking forward to that, getting back in actual good condition. As I will be adding some hard conditioning as soon as my body allows. As I'm not in competition for powerlifting right now, which means I get to put a little bit more focus on jiu-jitsu. And for that, I got to get some conditioning going. My arms are sliding from the sweat. It's making it difficult. Yeah, we're gonna stop at 5. My arms are so sweaty, it's sliding all over this. And I feel like could be a potential injury. So we're cutting it at 5 reps, we're done. Okay, day 1. The experiment. Success. Well, I need to, of course there will be changes coming forward. Today was just an idea, see what works, what doesn't work. For the most part, everything worked pretty well. I like doing the lower first, so going back and forth in the supersets, it's always gonna be a lower and upper, lower, upper, lower, upper. So for today, you've seen, I squatted and supersetted that with the incline bench. Secondary movement was lower, was the stiff-legged deadlift, followed by the cable flies, lower, upper. And then I followed that all the way through with the leg press, the tricep, hamstring, with the back. So lower, upper. And I chose it in that orientation because in competition, you squat first, and then you bench, and deadlift is last. So if you look at the order of operations, the first thing I did was squat. The second thing I did was bench. And the third thing I did was then deadlift. Squat, bench, deadlift in that order. So even though I'm doing a full body training session, I am doing some form of a SBD kind of every single day. So while this is in a off-season style of training, I wanted to find a way where I can do full body, extremely efficient, shorten up the time, increase my overall readiness for competition experience, as well as Rocky says what's up, as well as increasing my readiness rate or my conditioning level to perform at a high level. I am going with day one, the experiment in extreme success. And obviously, I can't imagine that I will not be making a ton of changes in the coming weeks to this. So if you're looking to see how I develop a off-season training program live from day to day with true data and information and progress, stick along, follow along. We're not done yet. No, I'm not competing this meet, but yes, I will be competing. The goals have not changed. I will be number one in multiple divisions for the old guys, nonetheless. But I continue on. I continue to seize every opportunity. Every day will indeed give me some way to be better. If you're interested in training like I do, high intensity, high focus, high energy, proven results, finding the ways to always move forward, experimenting, no cookie cutter programs, just follow me on Instagram. You can see in every thumbnail of every video that I make, I have Killer Keith down at the bottom. You can message me directly there, or you can just hit me up in the comments. We can start a conversation. I do custom programming, one-on-one, no cookie cutter, chat GPT garbage, developed for you for the best results, no matter the situation, just like you see me doing day in, day out, week after week within my own training.